Next on the Wayne Baven Show today, though, the government is being urged to take action to regulate non-surgical cosmetic procedures, things like Botox and fillers. And a topic we've covered an awful lot on the Wayne Baven Show in recent months. It's all part of wider measures, though, to tackle the impact of people's negative perceptions on their bodies. MPs on Parliament's Health Committee have been investigating the link between how people feel about the way they look and what it means for their wider health. It says despite increasing evidence about the harm it's doing to people's mental health, the government hasn't given it sufficient priority. Our political reporter Charlotte Rose has these details.
80%, that's 1 in 5 people who responded to the committee's survey on body image, said it had a negative impact on either their physical or mental health. MPs found that social media has played a big role on how the under-30s in particular view their bodies, and at the same time there's been a rise in the number of teenagers with eating disorders or abusing bodybuilding steroids. The Only Way is Essex's Charlie King is one of those who gave evidence about the pressure he felt to look a certain way.
I am contacted very often from people that would like to put a bit of Botox in me and a bit of filler. Have I thought about ab sculpting, veneers? And with my type of nature and having body dysmorphia, I then start second guessing, well, maybe I need that.
The committee wants far stronger regulations for people undergoing non-surgical cosmetic procedures like skin and lip fillers, arguing that there should be a minimum training and qualification standard for practitioners, that clients should have a full physical and mental health check beforehand, and that there should be a 48-hour cooling off period between giving consent and getting it done. MPs are also urging the government to crack down on digitally altered photos so that such images would have to show a logo. They acknowledge that there's a difficult balance to strike on obesity too, between communicating the risks of being overweight and the impact it has on health services, while not stigmatising the people who are, as it's unlikely to help them get the support they need. The committee says medical students need better training on all these issues to better understand the links between poor body image and poor health outcomes.
I know we've talked about body image and its effect on young people on this programme an awful lot, but it's shocking when you listen to that report and you hear our reporter there, Charlotte Rose, saying that this negative body image is affecting people mainly under the age of 30. It just beggars belief, doesn't it? You know, young people should be living their lives and they shouldn't be having this pressure. Let's chat to Laura Mathias from Manningtree. She's a campaigner for Changing Faces, which is a leading charity for anyone with a mark, scar or condition that makes them look different. Laura, good morning. Thanks for coming on the programme.
Hiya.
Nice to chat to you.
Sorry.
It's okay. Clear your throat. This is a huge problem, and I spend a lot of the summer, every summer, comparing music festivals on stages, and there's lots of young people out in the crowd, and I sometimes go into the crowd, you know, during an act, and the amount of girls, Laura, you know, age 16, 17, 18, 19, with these big lips, with these Botox, with these fillers, it's phenomenal. It seems the norm now.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I look back I was 13 when I developed alopecia, so, started losing my hair, which obviously massively impacted my confidence as a teenager. But even now, just comparing, regardless of whether I'd had hair loss or not, I do just think those pressures and standards just seem to have really intensified since I was a teenager.
Do you think the promotion of these cosmetic services, things like dermal fillers, on when they're showing pictures on social media of them, do you think that they should be more control?
100%. I am fully supportive that any images that have been edited or filtered in any way should be labelled, particularly if it's promoting, whether it's a product or a cosmetic surgery, because there's no benefit to the model or the people looking at that image to see an unreal photo. And I think that's what's interesting about this, because it's not only about protecting people who are considering these things, but actually the mindset that's getting them to that point is because of these unrealistic images that are telling them that they should consider them.
Laura, this conversation we're having now, I think it's really important that you tell us about Changing Faces, because I think it's really relevant.
Yeah, so Changing Faces as a charity actually submitted evidence for this report, where they spoke to people like me as a volunteer campaigner to ask the impact of what it's like living with a visible difference or just feeling like we're not represented. And just to put it into context, there's 1 in 5 people that self-identify as having a visible difference. So, I'm a bald woman. I class that as a visible difference, but it could be a mark, a scar, a skin condition. And that really does lead to massively low self-esteem. So I just think this report's really important because body image, especially for someone like me, isn't just about feeling low. When I was 13 and I lost my hair, it impacted my mental health so that I stopped going to school for 6 months. So, and even now in this heat, I'm having to double think. I don't want to go out without my wig some days if I'm not feeling confident, but then I'm going to keel over in this heat if I'm wearing a hat of hair. So it's not about people being a bit worried about their appearance. This is people not being able to live the life that they want to lead because they feel that they aren't represented. They feel that there's no place for them. And so I do think this really needs intervention because social media can be really positive. It has for me to find my tribe and really diversify my newsfeed. But I think the companies that own these channels need to do better to make sure that it's just really explicit when these images are not real. And when social media first came out, I think inherently it seemed like, oh, these celebrities that I follow, they're so much more accessible now. We're, seeing behind the scenes almost. But really steadily over the years, that has changed so that it's just another platform for them to show an edited version of themselves.
Laura, I don't know how old you are. It would be rude to ask.
I'm 31. Of course, right. You can ask me. I'm 31.
But you told us about your hair loss at school and how difficult that was. I think now people don't stop and stare as much as they did 20, 30 years ago. I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. It's more. I hate to use the word normal, but I don't bat an eyelid if I see a bald woman. I don't bat an eyelid anymore if I see somebody with a missing limb. I don't bat an eyelid if I see somebody with a facial scar. I'm just used to it.
Well, I think that's really positive, but maybe that's because you present this show, you chat to lots of people, you're open-minded, you are used to talking to people and meeting new people. But I would say, and the stats definitely support that both in this report and what Changing Faces do, that people are still feeling. So, 31% of people saying that they have struggled with their body image when living with a visible difference. So there has to be behaviour happening in society and on these social media platforms that are contributing to that. And for me personally, I know that. So for a fact at the moment, the bald app is doing the rounds again on Instagram. So people can try out what they look like when they're bald and they laugh along and they joke about, oh, look how I would look if I was bald. And that's my reality every single day and has been for well over half my life now. And, some days I can brush that off, but other days that is the difference between me being able to leave my house or not.
That's really powerful, actually. And actually, I regret saying what I said, because this isn't about me. This is about how the individual feels, not how I view the individual. I think that's important.
Yeah, but I think it's really positive that you think there is a difference. And I would like to say that there is a difference for me personally, and it maybe is a personal thing because I am trying to go out more and embrace my visible difference. But unfortunately, the stats, especially amongst younger people, and if I just think back to how I felt as a young person, and, like I said, I did not go to school for 6 months because I just couldn't bear it. I just couldn't face it. So I really do think that this report is important because body image can sound a bit soft sometimes, but the mental health implications of how we feel about how we look can be the difference between the life that we lead or don't lead.
How is the charity you campaign for, Laura, changing the way we view differences in our society?
So it's all about campaigning for better representation of all sorts of different people in media and adverts, but also feeding into reports like this. Changing Faces are very supportive of labelling images to show when they've been altered or filtered. And I just think that's really important. But they work with, companies like Avon signed the Pledge to Be Seen campaign a few years back now. And that's really about, again, using real people in their adverts, people with visible differences, to promote beauty products. Even I've, put myself forward as a real person to model, eyeliner for a campaign where we were trying to encourage people to see that even though I don't have eyelashes most of the time, that I can still be a model that promotes this beautiful eyeliner.
There was a TikTok post recently, I don't know if you saw it, and it was a plastic surgeon, a female plastic surgeon, who was giving tips on what procedures she would give to an actress who was in the Netflix series Stranger Things.
Oh,
That's very damaging. Who do they think they are to say what anybody else should look like? What is this telling? What message is this sending to young girls, or any girl, or anybody for that matter?
Yeah, I think it's that thing again of not having control of our own bodies, and people thinking, especially women's bodies, are just up for debate to talk about. Whether it was the Jada Pinkett Smith slap, or I feel very strongly about this because I have chatted on the show before, but it is that thing of, I've had people say to me, well, why don't you just wear a wig? And I'm thinking, but it's my choice whether I want to or not. Why is it any business of yours what I choose to wear or how I look? And I think somebody who is in a position of power, which a plastic surgeon is, using that platform to talk about how they would, air quotes, enhance a young person's image is incredibly damaging when so many young people are using a platform like TikTok. And we've already got enough pressures as it is with the lack of representation of real people, in media, in magazines, etc. But now using social media and seeing experts talking about how they would enhance like it's nothing. And of course that's damaging. Of course it is, because we shouldn't be, especially at a young age, worrying about how we can be more beautiful for the world. We should be concentrating on what do we want to be? Who do we want to be? What do we want to do? Not how do we want to look?
Really good point. And, we think this is getting better, and then we get these kind of stats saying that it's affecting people under 30. And we did a piece on the show last week about eating disorders in children as young as 8 or 9 years old. In one way, it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
No, and it really does worry me. And like I said, I'm the grand old age of 31 now. But even the last couple of weeks, I have to be honest, I have had a dip in confidence because, like I said, the heat just made it really difficult for me to think about how do I want to go out and present when I don't have any body hair. And it's quite hard to put makeup on to disguise my hair loss when it's this, hot and sweaty.
And
I definitely don't want to put a...
You're normally a really confident person as well, but you still have those dips.
Yeah, confidence isn't linear at all. Things happen, it could be the difference between an eczema flare for me that's too much for me because I'm already a bald woman. So then when I have a secondary issue or even a spot on my face, you don't see women presenting real skin on social media. It's all filtered. So then I'm thinking, oh, well, I can't be a bald woman and have this or, and where has that come from? It's obviously because of all the images that we see and we're bombarded with. And unfortunately, people like that man on TikTok or woman on TikTok talking about the cosmetic surgery we should all have.
I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this. It's not a subject or topic that's going away, Laura.
No.
Changing Faces, where can people find that more information?
Yep, so it's changingfaces.org.uk, and they're a fantastic charity, and I will always sing their praises because they've been a huge help to me, and they really are campaigning to make a difference and have submitted, quotes from people like me directly for this report. So I know that they are making a difference and getting this on the agenda. I
have to give your socials a plug as well. You must check out Laura's Instagram because there's some really, really powerful photographs on there. It's Relight Alopecia, isn't it, Insta?
Yep, that's me.
Relight Alopecia, or as Laura said, Changing Faces UK. Always nice to chat, Laura.
Thank you, you too.
Thanks for coming on. It's BBC Suffolk. As I said, do check out Laura's Instagram. Relight Alopecia, all one word.